Guys, this is me reporting from the end of day one at the WAGC. It's been a long day. You can see sunset behind me. The skyscape in Shenzhen is absolutely beautiful. So I left Beijing yesterday at lunchtime. I had 3 classes in the morning, and then I got my taxi to the airport. I was a bit worried that because it's snowing in Beijing, as you can see here. Getting ready to set out from Beijing here. You could see snowing. But I can see down in Shenzhen it looks like it's up at 30 degrees, so it's going to be quite the disparity in temperature. I'm going to miss the snow though. Beijing hasn't had snow like this in about, I'd say, well, in about 10 years or so. But anyway, it's worth it for the competition. So this is what I left Beijing to. And then my flight was delayed by about an hour. Also during the flight, there were weird colors outside. I thought I was going to be part of a new series of Lost. It was rather surreal. It was sort of a weird blue. You can't quite work out. It looks more normal than it felt from the photos. And then arriving in Shenzhen, then there was about so I had about a 40-degree temperature difference then. So coming up, it was 28 degrees, I think, in Shenzhen, and I left Beijing, it was about -10. So I started sweating profusely upon arrival. And got to the hotel, which is lovely, really swanky modern hotel, really nice. Got my pass for the competition, which I've been told that I'm supposed to wear on all occasions. And then they've given us a nice lovely little jacket as well, waterproof. I think we're due to get some rain here. Thankfully the temperature's going to dip tomorrow, which is brilliant, down to 16 degrees, so pretty much like an Irish summer then. Looking forward to that. Hopefully my brain will function a little bit better at that temperature as well then. And then last night was the opening ceremony. I was talking to James's opponent from Switzerland the other day as well. He was saying he was a bit disappointed. Lots of nice people, great food at the hotel. So let's go over to the game then. The game as well, quite strict security obviously, so we were all scanned down, and iPads and my little Fitbit as well, we had to take those off. Hey guys, I've just got back to my hotel room, so I thought I would do a quick review of the game today. So it was against Tudan from Chile, and I was pretty nervous. I didn't sleep too well last night, for a start because of the difference in temperature. And then obviously being quite excited as well for the big competition today. So let's have a look at the game then. I'll just go through it quickly because I've already been through it with the computer. So I'm pretty familiar with this opening. White comes here. This is all pretty standard. I come in here. Black's already got a tiny advantage, but it's negligible to amateur players at this point, I would say. And then this point is a pretty normal one for me to come to. This is all relatively normal. And then this is all pretty normal as well, I would say. Obviously, White wants to play another move here to defend me in the corner. Because I realized as well here, I was contemplating maybe coming in and doing something here, attaching, and then going into the corner. But then the ladder happens to be good for White, so I can't actually do that, which I was a little bit disappointed about, but didn't really matter because I just figured I can jump out here. And then after jumping out, White plays this move to defend against the attaching here, and then the move here at the 3-3. So I played this. I thought this was pretty normal. I was expecting to sort of run out together and maybe just round some points in the right. But White's next move really surprised me in the game, where White came in here directly. And I was surprised actually, looking after the game, it didn't look like White had dropped as many points by the computer. Well, obviously the computer didn't like it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I thought this was a pretty terrible move because it's pretty natural, I would say, now for Black to jump out. So I didn't spend much time here, and I just jumped out directly. And then White came into the corner. I was a bit silly here. Again, I was sort of quite happy after jumping out here, so I didn't spend too much time thinking. And I hannied in the corner. The computer thinks I should hanny on the other side, and it makes sense because what happens now is when hanny's like this, because obviously my ladder in this corner isn't good, so I was just planning to sacrifice the corner and capture this. But if I'm doing that, then I had no need to put this stone here in the first place, so I should probably have just have hannied on the outside, and then yeah, that would have been pretty reasonable. So after this then, I was a bit stuck here because I wasn't sure at this point whether or not to connect directly or whether or not to Atari and to make all the exchange here. But I was a little bit worried afterwards about white maybe coming along here and cutting, so I thought I would just connect and see what white does. But the computer thinks it's probably a little bit bad for me. I should probably have played the forcing moves. This was another place where I was a little bit lost in terms of what I should do next. I figured that somewhere around here as a move would obviously be very useful, because then white's going to have a difficult time running away with this stone. But I was quite worried about the cut here, and I was thinking about, well, maybe if white plays this cut, then he can make a lot of points, or she can make a lot of points on the right hand side here. So I wished out a bit and I played this, which was dropped a little bit, but not too much. I think it was just a couple of points worse. But certainly this move here in this direction seems like the natural one, because if white jumps out, this becomes weak. But I wasn't too worried, because here obviously I've got the Kema connection underneath as well. So white running out, I feel like white's got a bigger burden than black does, because ultimately I've got an escape route here as well. Cool. So white jumped out, and here my thought was originally that white's played the big jump, so there's quite a lot of weakness here. So I thought at this point, actually, I probably don't want to play. I did consider maybe just coming in here and directly attaching, and then maybe trying to cut white off. But I decided against that. I thought I'll leave this for the moment, because it didn't seem too pressing, but the computer seems to think I probably should have played here directly. So I just came up here, but this is a bit slack as well. I felt at the moment that if white's running away, maybe if I've got an attack later on, then I can start to think about surrounding some points in the middle here. But I think the problem with this move is it's not sente in most situations here, particularly whenever this skirt down here is open. The value of this move is questionable, because when white jumps out here, yeah, I get this. But white just plays here, and again, I've not really gained much. The interesting as well is the computer also thinks here that white shouldn't just extend downwards, thinks that white should obviously just attach. This is good for white then, because obviously in this situation it's different from the Joseki with the connection, because if white if white connects here, then obviously it makes the threat of the cut here much more potent. So pushed up here. So my plan at the moment here was, I was now thinking about coming here and capturing this stone in to get some points on the bottom. But I was a bit worried that maybe after I did that, white could then capture this stone on a large scale. So I thought what I would do is I would play here to reduce, or to see how white's going to play, and then come back here, which I kind of got in the game. The computer thought again, though, this was a slow move. And white then, this was a little bit strange given what white did. So then I came back here. This is where I made the computer thinks a really big mistake as well. I handied out, and I did see white's continuation, but I thought in the fighting, because obviously I've got a lot of stones here that was going to be good for me, white thinks that I should just bump and then cut is a bit more severe, because the reason, like in the real game, white's got this move here, because of the fact that white's bumped my stone. Now there's a nice tiger's mouth connection here whenever white pushes down. And then I did read to here, but I didn't read much further, which was a bit lazy of me. And I think it was probably my energy level was sinking from the last 2 days. So I just played. This was a little bit strange as well. So after white's connection here, I thought I had a Tesuji, and I did, but then in the game, I think I got myself a little bit muddled here. So this is absolutely fine. This is also what the computer thinks is the best move. But then for some reason, my brain short-circuited. So I played this, that's absolutely fine. But after white connects, I should just come back here and cut, and white is in big trouble. In the game, I thought I don't know why I did this. All I can explain is I was dazed and confused. And then after this move, white comes here, and I sort of, at this point, we can see as well on the computer, I've gone from being up here to down here. My heart sort of sunk a bit, because I realized that these 4 stones were going to be in trouble if I didn't do anything. But white's probably also got some moves in the middle. Thankfully, white here, the impression I got, especially from later on in the game, was that when it came to sort of fighting or contact moves, white lacked a little bit of common sense, and this was also quite apparent in a minute as well. So again, I'm not sure the benefit of all of this pushing through here, because obviously white's liberties are quite short, and there were maybe some other moves that could be used later on, just pushing on top, etc. So I was quite surprised to see this. And then when white played this, I was massively relieved, because then I've got time. This isn't Sente, and then I've got time to come back to the middle now and play some moves. So I was debating, do I want to extend here, or do I want to connect? or do I want to play the Hanning on top here? I decided in the end just to connect, because then that also gives white the least amount of usage on the outside too. So I just played that, and then white played this, which is super strange, and the computer hates this move as well, because the problem is obviously originally you could play here in Atari and then connect, and then I've got to connect and you can come out. So instead what happened was white did this, and this is where all of a sudden I finally felt relaxed in this game as well. I say relatively I would say relatively relaxed. I still hadn't counted clearly, even though I felt that at this point the tempo of the game was certainly in my favor. So white played here, and then white made life, and I was just like, oh, brilliant, okay, if you want to do that. Because at this point, like, especially this Kosumi, even the computer at this point here, there's probably nothing better than Kosumi. But then playing here, obviously I've now, the points in the corner are reduced, and my outside is quite thick. So I just played a nice thick move here, keeping everything connected, and then obviously lots of potential in the middle. I was quite surprised by this, but the computer seems to like it as well. I suppose the point is on the top right here, white's got a bit of agi, but I didn't need to think. I just put that down within a couple of seconds here, because obviously I'm trying to make the most of the potential in the middle. White extends, and then I was thinking here, do I want to jump in the middle? I remember at this point, Wang Runan, the old chairman of the Chinese Go Association walked by, and I sort of thought to myself, no, I think I should play thick first. I played thick, but there was probably a better thick move. The computer likes it better if I hane here. I just played this, but it's slightly better than jumping here. I was tempted here to jump, but I was worried about a white attachment immediately, and then the agi here might be unclear. So I thought at this point, I'm probably doing all right. Let's just keep it simple, nice and thick moves. And then white comes here, and then the computer likes, I just played here. The computer thinks I should double hane. I think there's about a point difference, so it's not too big a difference to my kind of level. But I should probably, again, this point here, I just wanted to finish up the game. My time was a lot lower than my opponent's as well. I think down here at the bottom, when I got a little bit worried, I started thinking about things and spent a lot of time. So white plays this, white needs to connect, and then I just attach in the middle here, trying to, obviously I could play somewhere here, but I think this is, surrounding the middle as big as possible. The computer prefers me to hane on the top here, which I thought was interesting too, but then it's not too much of a difference. White made some points back on the right hand side. The computer doesn't really like my move here, and doesn't like my connection as well. But this move here by white, I felt like this was the end of the game, really, because this is way too slow in terms of here. It's not really Sente. I've got enough liberties here that there's not really going to be any issue. And I'd also seen that I had a sort of a Tsuji coming up in a second, which is when white played this again, super slow, just coming into my territory one move at a time. Even if white jumps here, I can attach on the outside, and that's still what you've spent 3 moves, and you've removed about 10 points. Whereas the moves I've been playing have all been getting a lot more points there. So the cut here is a small Tsuji, which I spotted. It's all right. It wasn't as good, I realized afterwards, if white just played normally. I thought here for about 2 minutes for the ko, and I thought, no, that would be mad. Obviously, white has way more ko threats than I do. So after I awoke from my madness, then I just played here. And after me awaking from my madness, white entered hers and played this move here, which I was just like, oh. The normal sort of thing that I was expecting, obviously, is just to capture the stone here, and then I'll capture the 3 stones in Gote, and then we'll all play the big end game. And as you see here, it's just a slightly good game for black. Black leading by about another extra komi after giving white komi. But then white played this, and then I play here, just attach, and then those stones have gone in. So white's in big trouble then at this point. The difference, so I'm up to about 15 points ahead. I think my lesson here today is, I don't know, I think if I'm playing against, because I really don't play too much. This is the first time I've played against in a big sort of competition with lots of European players. I get the feeling that I should probably play more contact moves and sort of lots of fighting, because I like my Tsuji problems. And then this was all pretty standard. I think as well, white had another misread in the middle. I had a misread. So at this point here, I was in Byoyomi, so I was a little bit nervous and just wanted to finish things off. And what did I do? I did this silly thing here, which I really shouldn't have done. I should probably just have Kosumi'd, taken the points, keep it nice and simple. But no, I thought I had a Tsuji, me hallucinating. And then white played this, and I realized, okay, I'm a little bit silly here. So I just connected, took that. White got a big endgame. Thankfully as well, though, White misread here. White thought that this was forcing moves in Senti, and missed the fact in just a minute that it wasn't, because I've got the wedge. I think in the middle as well, White's play was a little bit suspect here, because if you can see, I'm already up to being about 20 points ahead. So I think this is a lesson as well for strategy. I think I should just keep it simpler at the beginning, maybe then, and then maybe, yeah, just wait for opportunities at the end. So that's my lesson maybe for the next couple of days. But obviously, easier said than done, especially as the opponents are going to be getting stronger as well. So I played here, just came into the territory. The move order is probably slightly wrong here, and then White had clearly missed the wedge. So after capturing those, yeah, nearly 20 points in the lead. I didn't realize it was that much at the time. And that's game one over today. So one win for Ireland. Opponent was 2 down. So given the rating I'm in with, which is 4 down, I probably should have won this, but it certainly wasn't comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't come out thinking that I'd controlled the game particularly well. But hopefully I've knackered myself out for today, and I can get a good rest and be ready for 2 matches tomorrow then. So I'm quite excited. So I'm going to go and get dinner in a bit. If you've got any questions or suggestions as well, please, for how I can change the format over the next few days, please let me know. Bye, guys.